At first glance, it might look like there's not much going on, but actually there's quite a bit going on, so let's go take a closer look. When I plant snap peas, I usually plant them about 3 or 4 weeks before our last frost date, so they're already up and growing. Right next to the snap peas, I have a half row of Detroit dark red beets growing. I plant my beets about 3 weeks before our last frost date, and they're just starting to come up. I'll be thinning these out soon. Here's a look at some of our carrot seedlings, and this year I have 6 different carrots growing, 4 purple varieties and 2 orange varieties. Whenever I'm planting seeds in our wood chip garden, I just drag a hoe through the wood chips until I get down to the soil level. Then I plant the seeds. I then put a little soil over the seeds, and as the seedlings grow, I pull the wood chips back in place. One of the orange varieties I'm growing this year is called Coral, and here's a look at some that I harvested a couple of years ago. This type of carrot makes a great juicing carrot, even though I've never tried that, and they also keep very well. The Washita blackberries over by the shed are starting to leaf out very well, and recently I noticed a couple of new canes starting to sprout up out of the ground. Some of these canes are as tall as the shed. Here's a look at some of the ones we picked last year, and these were really good tasting berries and very sweet. In the grow bags we have some spinach finally coming up, and next to that we have some lettuce that's coming up. The lettuce is called Little Gem. I really like that variety. And right next to the lettuce we have some radishes, and what rain we had kind of washed them over to one side of the bag, so I'm going to transplant some of those. The other morning we had a freeze, and I noticed this little Dwarf Iris blooming, and it was a pleasant surprise on such a cold day. Most of these clips were shot on Wednesday, and the weather forecasters predicted that we still had 2 nights that were going to be near freezing. So I was still taking plants out and bringing them back in at night. And hopefully on the day that this posts, I'll be able to put some of these things in the ground. Here's some sweet potatoes that I got at Trader Joe's a while back before the pandemic started. Here's a closer look at a couple of our ubi purple yams, and those grow very quickly. These are one of the things that I'm going to be growing in our tomato cages. Millennial Gardener stopped by one of my videos and we were talking about bananas, and he mentioned the Dwarf Orinoco. I checked it out and I think I'm going to give it a try. A while back I showed you some mushrooms that I grew in our grow kit, and here's my second crop starting. I just flipped the block over, cut into it, and did it like I did the first time, and I've got a second crop. The Musa velutina that survived the winter has its first leaf now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it does this year. We had some abnormally warm weather early in the month, and that got the bananas to growing, and then it turned cold, and we had some hard freezes, and I've had to cover these up. And wherever the leaves were touching the tarp, it did damage to them. But in a couple of weeks they should recover fine. I've been keeping a close eye on the 10-day weather forecast, and it's looking pretty good, so I think beginning this weekend I'm going to be starting to plant some of this stuff outside. Be sure to let us know how your garden's doing, and if you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.